The drum
The drum.
is the heartbeat of life. It's all about time. And time is all we know. It's about love. It's about the heartbeat. It's about the rhythm of life, of all things that I live for. And that's all I know. If everybody can get into the heartbeat of life, period, to know the mind has nothing to do with your existence, more so than what you're feeling in life from your heart, because that's the root. And when we recognize what our heart says, then we're in tune with the universal law. The drum is the heartbeat of life.
Once you experience the drum and you let it synchronize with your heart, because you know your heart is a drum as well. Because the heart and the drum are trying to synchronize, because they're both drums. Well, your heart locks in with your drum, right? And then it's talking about collaboration, and unity that happens because we have to listen to each other, and it's all about time and space. We're trying to fill in with a space with our unique drum, right? I think once you're baptized with the drum, you'll always sing the drum.
And when we recognize what our heart says, then we're in tune with the universal law. The drum is the heartbeat of life.
I think once you're baptized with the drum, you'll always sing the drum.
The drum is the heartbeat of life.
Greetings and welcome to the Lit Kwanzaa Celebration 2021. The Lit Kwanzaa Celebration is being presented by Elm City Lit Fest and the International Festival of Arts and Ideas. We had to do a virtual celebration this year in the spirit of Kuumba. Our first segment is Cultural Warrior Dolls. These lovely dolls we're going to be a craft of the live Kwanzaa celebration. We are about to show a demo from the lovely artists that were selected to created these. They created these. Bianca K. Anderson and Rita Charles. And enjoy the video.
Hi, I'm Kate, and
Hi, I'm Rita.
we
we
are going
made-
to be making cultural warrior dolls. So I'm going to go first?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to be making a doll with pants. You're going to get some small pieces of fabric with your kit. You can decide what's going to be the pants and what's going to be the top. I'm going to use this fabric for my pants. I want you to take it, slip it into the clothespin. Then it's probably better to cut in the beginning. I don't always do that. But you can see take a little bit of glue and put it on the outside of the fabric. Then you'll take it, fold it over, and then fold the glue end to the top. And press. I'm thinking that is a little long. That's fine. Just pull it forward and cut the end off. There we go. And then we're going to do the same with the other side. Put it through the leg. I'm going to have to cut this one too because I didn't cut my fabric in advance. But you're getting the idea. You glue one edge. You fold it over. And then you press it. Now hopefully you won't have to do this each time. So there you have a pair of pants. Now we need arms. You're going to find a pipe cleaner and you're going to make it into a ring like that. Cross and twist. Then I want you to push it together and you're going to get two little wings. Pull your wings together to make sure that they're the same size. These are going to be your arms. So you see what you've got? Let that open up. Now hold it here, right in the middle, and twist. Now you have two arms. The next thing is the top. I want you to take the next little piece of fabric and fold it in half, and fold it in half again. And you're going to have a small rectangle. You're going to make a very little cut right at the tip where it's folded. And that's going to give you a shirt. Open it up and come down each side with your glue. Put it over the head and press. And now he's got his shirt. Now, you might decide that that shirt looks a little big and you want to do something different. You can always gather it up and either use a pipe cleaner, which I'm going to do so it'll be fast. Or there'll also be little pieces of cloth that you can use to do the same thing. Now we need some hair. There's a few ways to do hair. You can make some knots like that, and then cut them. This is some regular, like Elmer's glue that I let sit out because I want it to get sticky, or else it gets everywhere. Put some on his head, and then you can start applying your hair. This might take a bit. I won't do everything, but you'll get the idea. But if you want long hair, you can make long hair. If you don't want any hair at all, that's all right too. We've made all kinds of people with all kinds of hair. And this is very simple, but here's your first cultural warrior.
I am going to make a cultural warrior doll with a skirt, and I'm also going to make a baby. Kay showed you how to make, a warrior doll using the glue stick. So there's all different types of glue that you can use. Please don't think that there's any wrong glue. Like she said, she used a glue stick and Elmer's glue. I'm going to show you how to make one with hot glue. However, if you choose to make these warrior dolls at home with hot glue, please, if their children are using the hot glue, have them be supervised. The glue guns do get very hot. I have personally burnt myself. I don't want anybody else to burn themselves. So watch your fingers. I'm very big in molding, so you'll end up seeing that. So I'm going to start with the 2 pieces of fabric I chose, which is this one. It's literally 1 sheet because it's a skirt. I did pre-cut fabric for a shirt, but I will show you how to make a shirt again. And I have pieces for my hair. There's no wrong way in doing this. Kay starts with the pants. I'm actually starting with the pipe cleaner, so I'm going to automatically make my circle first. So again, take the pipe cleaner, put it up, put it into the circle, and twist. Do you have a ring? I take my person. Like Kay said, you make your wings. You can measure your wings. I'm also okay if my wings are not like exactly even. I don't believe in perfection. I like happy accidents. And like Kay said, you twist very, very tightly. a person has their arms. I like using hot glue, of course, because it's faster, but at the same time, I feel like I like volume when I make the skirt, so I like to be able to make the skirt stick out a certain way. So I'm going to start with applying a little bit of hot glue right here and wrapping my skirt right on top of the hot glue. There's no hot glue on this part. I'm going to pull it around and I'm going to wrap my skirt all the way around. While I'm wrapping, I can still feel the hot glue, so it's still molding to the stick. I'm going to keep going. As you can see, it's not perfectly even. I will show you why. Again, it doesn't mean that you can't make yours perfectly even just because I'm not. I'm going to finish it with a little bit of hot glue. Also, if you have like extra tweezers or a toothpick at home, you can use it to like help you mold, or even Q-tips. So I'm then going to take my skirt and I'm going to fold it up to make a different design. I would like for my doll's skirt to look like this. So what I'm going to do is now glue this little part right here. And again, simple thing, if you want to learn how to use just a tool fit, just lay it down with the tool. Stuck up like this. This other part right here, I'm going to glue right here. This fabric is thick. It's like 4 layers on this one side, so it might need a little bit more glue, but we'll find out in a second. See, I have glue on my fingers. I didn't get burnt though, but I do have glue on my fingers. So this is my doll skirt so far. Just giving her a little bit of volume and definition with the skirt. Okay, so like I said, I pre-cut this fabric. This fabric could be used whether I wanted to make pants, where I wanted to make a shirt. It could be used for whatever I want. So what I did to this fabric is I took this one piece of fabric, I folded it in here, like Kay showed you. I folded it again. I made a small triangular cut for the head. So the head would be cut out. Then I took the fabric and I split it up the middle. Like this. If I was making pants, of course, I could have cut it more, or you could do the individual wrap too. Actually, since I cut this one, I'll use this one. So you put this over the head. And so it's over the head, since it's already cut. I'm wrapping the shirt underneath, piece by piece. My person will have almost like a wrapped shirt. So I'm literally just wrapping the shirt to the way that I want it to be. So it's all wrapped up. Nothing has been fastened. I'm going to take this little piece at the end and put a little bit of hot glue right here to fasten it all in. Taking my tool and just smearing it down. So this is my doll's outfit. So one thing that's nice is when you use the hot glue, you can put hair with it, and a hat. So Kay showed you how to make hair with the knots, and like you could see, we have all different types of doll with different hair. I'm taking yarn. I just cut it in pieces So one strand, doesn't make a difference how many strands you have. I'm putting it like this. I'm going to tie it in a knot. Again, see the knot's not perfect, has enough in the front and the back. I'm going to take it from the knot. I'm going to put 1 drop of hot glue on top of his head. I'm going to take the knot and place it on my doll's head. While my doll's hair is drying on top of his head, I'm going to style the hair afterwards, but I want to make it have some form of a head wrap. Here's a small piece of material. You'll get these in your kit. It's whatever size you want it to be. I would like to cut my material down a little bit. So from here, this glue is still actually hot. So I'm going to take it. I folded it just because I would still want my doll to look like it has a face. But I stuck the glue right on top of the part that's still there. See it? It's stuck. Then I'm going to take the material and just hold it. I'm going to twist it around. Make sure you get your doll's hair out the head wrap so it can still have all this joyous length. All I'm doing is twisting and folding. I'm going to put my doll in the back. The material's in the back. Small thing of hot glue again. Right there. Fold it. And just place it down. So you can choose that your doll has like long locks just sticking out, or if you want to, twist your doll's hair up into a bun. Or as I like to say, I still love the messy bun look. So does not need to be perfect. Again, small drop. Small drops go a long way. My doll has a head wrap, has a skirt, and it has a shirt. It's completely done. I'll put my doll right here. So in your kit, you'll get different size items from babies to what you want to call adults or even teenagers. When making a baby, it's very simple. This is basically the size of the baby. As you can see, it's super small. We made some previous babies like this size. So what you basically do is you take the baby and you're going to wrap the baby. I used fabric glue, tacky glue with some of them. We're going to use some of the Elmer's glue. And all you need is like literally one kind of stripe just going down. Just enough to help stick. You could use yarn, you could use cord. You can use pipe cleaners too, Kay?
Yeah.
And we're just gonna wrap the baby. I really love this yarn. It's been my yarn that me and Kay have talked about. I love rainbow colors. I like colors in general, so. But I always think it's cute when you see little babies and they have like these colorful blankets. So I think this is a great yarn to use for a baby blanket. When you get to the bottom right here, it always gets hard to grip the yarn. So you might have to reapply some glue. You have to kind of tuck and hold when you get to the bottom. I really don't need this other layer, but I'm not gonna lie, purple's my favorite color, so I'm adding it in there. If you use the Elmer's glue, again, you just have to be willing to let it dry a little bit. It doesn't dry as fast as the hot glue, but it still dries. And it still works, so. Here is our baby. If you want to make the doll hold the baby, my doll got stuck. Could have the baby rest however you want it to be. And don't forget, these are pipe cleaner hands. Could just mold the baby inside. Usually if you make one arm a little bit longer, it's helpful just to help you lock it in. Or, of course, you can always hot glue the baby in. It's up to your decision. But here's our baby, and here is our doll with a skirt.
Greetings and welcome to the Lit Kwanzaa Celebration Virtual 2021. I'm Ife Michelle Gardine, founder of Elm City Lit Fest, Culturally Lit. And today is the 5th day of Kwanzaa Nia, which means purpose. Nia, to make our collective vocation of the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. And on this day of purpose, I'm in conversation with my cousin and dear friend, Elaine Peters and Alita Staten. And we're going to talk about, like, these two ladies have been in the New Haven, the greater New Haven cultural scene, in the art scene forever. I say forever, ever. We aging ourselves. But in some of the first in creating the celebrations around our culture and maintaining that culture and passing it on. So we're going to talk about how our cultural journey began. Like, how far back do we all Bowen Peters, of course. We'll get to that. We can talk about that history too. But Alita, let's start with you. What's the earliest that you can remember on your cultural journey?
Well, after I got out of school, my journey actually started in Hartford. And I still sometimes talk to Dolly McLean at the Artist Collective. That was very similar to the program that was at Dixwell Church, but it had larger groups of students. I think at one time there were 90 dancers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they were strong. And so their African dance was powerful. I, of course, taught in the theater department. And we put on productions, a big one for the summer and small ones during the year. But that's where it started, at the Artist Collective. You know, they also had drumming and they had martial arts. Because they wanted every one of those kids to be strong. They took a lot of kids off the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And you also did some acting. So talk about your acting career.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about the theater.
I actually came out of college as an actor. I like the word actor. And I did a few local tours. Dolly McLean again. She's the one who called me to do For Colored Girls. And it started at Hartford Stage, and then it did a national tour. So I'm so thankful for her for that.
Yes.
But after that, I did some local touring, like New England, you know, Tri-State and whatnot. And then For Colored Girls, you know, went national. So we, you know, decided to stick with the cast. I think only 3 of us changed, and we went national.
And you're directing. Come on, Alita. You holding back. Back.
I have been directing for like 40 years.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Let's talk about that.
I
Okay.
started directing under my advisor in college. I was directing in college. And after I got out, I directed for several theater companies. Alliance Theater Company, a couple of them that I don't remember. But I did a lot of directing in the community, which is very different than directing at a regional theater. And I think I'll talk about the last 2 things I did, because I'm kind of mourning Chucky Brown, because he was my star
Yes.
in Black Nativity.
For
My
years.
students.
Yes. He was my star in Black Nativity
Yes.
because he had done Broadway already, so he was something to look up to. And
What was he the star of? Because you did this show for a long time in churches in New Haven around the holiday time.
Yes.
Black Nativity.
Black Nativity just kept happening. And
To
he
a
had
standing
done,
room only house.
oh yeah, he was Mufasa on Broadway. He was, you know, he did a lot of the high recognizable Broadway shows.
But you handled not just him, a professional actor. It was people from church.
Absolutely.
So that is cultivating an awareness of the work.
Yeah. 2 families that I knew were masters at gospel and either in performance or creating the sound, anointed, both families. The Brown family, which Chucky was from, and the Monk Flake family. And so we got musicians, we got actors, we got, vocalists and everything from those 2 families. And that to me was Black Nativity.
And how long did you keep that?
I directed it for 4 years.
Okay.
I co-directed it at Long Wharf for 1 year. And then when they decided not to do it anymore, I picked it up and said, let's keep, it seems like the community still wants it. I asked around, and the community, the folks I talked to said, oh yes, Black Nativity. There's no Christmas without Black
it.
Nativity.
That's right.
So yeah, I directed it for 4 years. And then what did we move on to? We moved on to scripts that we wrote after that for the holidays. Because I love Langston Hughes. But there's got to be more. There are other people.
There is, and Alita, don't stop, because you have this. We talking about purpose here,
Yes.
and your purpose,
Yes.
in within the Greater New Haven arts community, as with mine.
Yeah.
We work for almost every arts organization.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you
Let's
got
talk
it.
about cultivating in the community
Yes.
and awareness of arts and culture.
Well, I started in New Haven organizations with the Board of Ed. And there was a position called arts facilitator.
Because they had
These-
what was the department? Wasn't it a
It
little
was the arts department.
arts department?
Yeah, comprehensive arts.
That's it.
And so I was a theater facilitator there. What that meant was I studied all of the theatrical kind of programs that are possible to bring in front of students. And that included performances. So there were some that were in-school productions that I could help on. Some were performances where I had to move like 1,500 kids to a school, so and then bring an artist in, so they can, and then get rid of them and bring 1,500 more students in. And I don't know if they still do that anymore. It was rough. It was rough, but we got it done. We got it done.
Without the technology that they have today
Absolutely.
Yeah.
to shuffle things around.
Absolutely. We got it done without cell phones.
Okay. Okay.
Well, that's a feat.
and then from there,
And from there, I started working at Educational Center for the Arts. And what I was charged with was going out to recruit students and kind of building and diversifying the student body, and as well as guest teachers. So I brought in a few guest teachers that I knew could bring more culturally Black experiences to students. And I also went out all over Connecticut to recruit students in high school. So I visited a lot of high schools, and for students I knew we wanted to build, I'd be like, "Come here,
Yeah. What you doing?
let me tell you something. I'll be there. Don't be afraid. This is a brilliant program, that you need to be a part of." And a lot of them did. A lot of them came over.
and then you did the touring. Come on, Connecticut State. What was it that where you had artists all over the state?
Oh, young audiences.
Young audience.
Audiences, yes, young audiences.
Well, in young audiences, I was charged with hiring the artist and matching them to the school. So it was a little bit different than New Haven Public Schools. New Haven Public Schools started with the students because all fifth graders studied theater. Fourth graders studied dance. Sixth graders studied dance. Fourth graders studied visual art. And so this was a little bit different. I started with the artists. We had artists all over the state, and we had schools all over the state. So, of course, you want to match the artists with the nearest school.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to travel to see these performances as well, so we could comment on how they were received. So I think we had like 125 artists that we were sending back and forth all over Connecticut. And some came in. There were some programs that I liked so much in other chapters that I brought them into.
Mix it up. a little.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, Connecticut could use that. See if you can come over here.
There you go. And so, and then you went into an arts administration.
I went into arts administration. I'll tell you what the pivot was. Our friend, Paul Hall, had gotten out of Alvin Ailey, and he came back home, and he wanted to start a dance company.
Right.
And he was just building this company, and then decided through some, consultation with the Arts Council, etc., that he wanted to formally form a 501c3. So he needed a board. And so he asked me to come to the performance where he was going to announce that, he was making this pivot and consider being on his board. And I was on his board.
Right.
And I presided over his board for a couple of years. And that was an incredible experience. We did local performances, but again, we always want to think bigger. And when Paul said he wanted to go to the Conference for Blacks in Dance, the International Conference for Blacks in Dance, I was like, okay, what do we do? What you want us to do?
Where was it?
It was in Dallas. It was in Dallas, Texas. And we were able to we did some fundraising. I remember writing those fundraising letters. We brought 9 dancers and 3 board members to Dallas, Texas, to the International Festival for Blacks in Dance. He performed. I saw everybody perform, and he was right up there with international dance companies, Black companies. And
he was also one of the first Black dance companies that was local that performed on the Schubert stage.
That's right.
In New Haven. Yeah, we had when I worked at the Schubert, we did he had just passed, and we organized the memorial for him in the lobby.
Yes.
We decorated, got Colleen Coleman to curate the costumes and props from his various things, and his various performances, and we had a wonderful people. I mean, there was food donated. It was like, boom, we pulled it together, maybe in a week.
To honor a local artist that had a vision for national and international.
Exactly.
And he actually, when he joined Mikata, that
I remember that
Afro-cultural music group, they went international.
As well as
he went to Japan. He went,
Yeah, and they also were New Haven community builders as well, because they had classes all the time here and performances, and exposed so many people in our community to that.
Right. And they were one of the groups that we would, through Young Audience, send out to schools. I think they're still doing that.
And then you went to the Arts Council.
And then I went to the Arts Council. Well, here's the thing. The work that I did with Paul Hall was arts administration. I was not on stage. I did not even do announcements or anything. It was all back, in the back. How much money do we need? Okay. What staffers, do we need? Okay. You need a rehearsal space? Okay. We did, and I produced a couple of his shows.
Yep.
So that was my transformation to arts administration. And then at the Arts Council, I had, here's how that happened. I was in grad school and I was studying arts incubation. And I was writing a paper on arts incubation. And so I visited arts incubators where Florida, New York, Virginia. And then I talked to arts incubators all over the country. And we looked at the Arts Council. And we said, gee, we have some space up here. Do you want to try it? Because I had been talking to the Arts Council, for a while, and told them what I was doing, and we had lunches together and whatnot.
That's when Bitsy Clark was there, and
Bitsy
Bitsy
was there, yeah.
and she was on fire. She'd be like, "Okay, what you want to do? Okay."
Yes. And so we thought it would be a good idea, and the Community Foundation thought it would be a good idea. So what we did was carve out a space for artists, because the visual arts director, she was drowning in books. So it's like, oh, can we move these books over to like a resource center? Okay. And we did that. We bought chairs. We scurried around and got computers, Mac, as well as the desktop, the other,
Painted.
Mm-hmm.
Signage.
We painted, and we started asking artists, telling artists, hey, we have this resource here. You want to do your own. You want to do your own flyers, posters, etc. It started off small, but that was how things were going in the Florida incubator. Artists were all in one space, and they had a business center in one space where they could make posters and whatnot. They did their own designs, and they shared community space. They shared conference room space. They shared rehearsal space. And so I was thinking, gee, we need something like that up here.
Yeah.
And that was when everybody started looking at that model, the co-working model, because that's all it was. Co-working, it started in upstate New York, where this gigantic business factory left, but they left the buildings behind. And so that's business incubators. They started bringing in businesses to share that space instead of everybody renting their own space. And we wanted to create a space at the Arts Council so people's offices would not be on their beds, okay, or their, dining room table. So we said, folks, come on down. We'll talk to you. We'll talk you through what we have here. Do what you want to do, And some people came down to make phone calls. Some folks came down to, write scripts. Some people came down to read. And it was like one of the first, rudimentary arts incubator type program.
I was one of those people that made flyers, made tickets, made posters, made programs,
You utilize the space.
Yeah, I utilize the space, and I try to get people to come on down, in the community, because, the area that the Arts Council is in, and made people kind of leery, can I fit in? Can I do this? Can I, am I going to be accepted? And so for the times that it was, before like the cell phones and all that, it was a great space.
Yeah.
To utilize the resources.
Yeah. I saw a lot of artists come through there. And, we were there for them to ask questions. They used the printer, they used
color too.
Yeah. And the first test was free for the artist. The next test, we were going to actually take it upstairs to office space upstairs, and we were going to have membership fees. So, it could take care of itself, and if something happened to the equipment or whatever, and we had to replace something, it needed to take care of itself.
And then Arts and Ideas.
Lord have mercy.
I'm telling you, you had a journey, Alita.
I had a journey.
You got it. This is like when I say this is like it worked out that we are doing this on this day.
Yeah.
Because the three of us have had purpose. Our purpose has been in manifesting our cultural identity within our community.
Yeah.
And maintaining our authentic selves in the midst of it.
Exactly.
Okay? Because nobody transformed us. And and Alita and I sometimes the only fly in the buttermilk.
True.
Because traditionally in New England and in New Haven, the arts organizations were run by white women.
That's right.
Right? And then they needed some crayons to color the page.
Well, they needed again, I keep hearing diversify. And that was a model that I think still doesn't work. You don't hire one person to diversify and then everybody else is like, okay, we got it. We don't have to help.
Okay.
You know, but when I went to the Arts Council, Betty Mons was directing over there. When I went to the Arts Council and I said, look at this business model. I think you can do this. She created a position for me. Mm-hmm. And so I was the senior program director over there. And when I moved over to International Festival full time, because I was there part time running smaller programs.
Yeah, part time in a full time position, but we don't talk about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. When I went over there, and they told me they were going to do this dance program with the Urban Bush Women, and they really wanted to get some more community in there because they had community efforts, but they wanted to expand them. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So they created a position for me. And it was within community programs because they didn't have staff, they just had a director. So in community programs, we were able to get that large Dixwell project off with the Urban Bush Women. And we were able to create celebrations in 12 communities, including neighborhoods. 12 communities, but they were mostly visual art. So we had an artist work with the community. And we added jazz. So that there were jazz ensembles when we had these art openings. We had 6 arts opening in one day.
See, that's a lot of that coordination thing. Because when I worked at Long Wharf and we did the Good Person of New Haven project, well, we had to have 6 productions in different neighborhoods.
In a different neighborhood.
In a different neighborhood. There was the rehearsals in every neighborhood of recruiting people to want to act, to show up for rehearsal. The thing. People don't realize what. People show up for the show, and and it's like, oh, I'm here, and you enjoy it, and then, but they don't know all the back stuff, the backstory.
We were fortunate that our communities recognized us, and they got on board.
That right there speaks to the purpose, because they know that your purpose is genuine.
Yeah.
When you or I show up, folks will be like, okay.
We all right.
We all right. What we gonna do, sis? Because our purpose has been this culture, our culture, and permeating that. So arts and ideas, and then Long Wharf.
And Long Wharf. Now, I'd done a lot of work at Long Wharf. I directed there, I performed.
And you did Arts and Ideas twice.
And I did Arts and Ideas twice. Exactly. I did Arts and Ideas, and then I left for 12 years. And then I went back. I went back as a community programs manager this time, and that was very recent. So when I was, it was fall 2019, when I got a message. I'm not going to tell you who from.
Okay.
There's a position down here that you'd be perfect for. And so I applied for it, and I got it. I had a really good time at the interview. I did love the new direction that they were going in. And I did that for the next year.
and you handed it off to a very competent young woman, Shaw McAllister,
Shaw McAllister,
who is rocking and rolling.
Yes.
And then Longworth. Well, let's talk about Longworth.
And then Longworth. So that's the position that actually, I got the message about.
Okay.
Yes, because
Okay.
they restructured their whole, they restructured everything. And so I had a lot of projects. And right now, I think, because I left Longworth, but right now, I think one of the projects that is, they have a good chunk of money from a donor, Doris Duke.
Mm-hmm.
And that project I'm still involved with.
Mm-hmm.
And, we did theater outside. I was able to recruit artists to do work at Longworth.
Mm-hmm. And through all of this,
Yeah.
you taught theater at Quinnipiac. Yes. See, you ain't no lightweight.
Yes.
Okay.
That was amazing. I love that. I'm taking a little break now, but they told me to come back.
Now, Elaine, we on you. We ain't forget about you because all of us have roots in Bowen Peters.
I'm in
That's
awe.
right.
I'm in awe of all the things that I remember. She's speaking. I'm remembering.
So
Yeah.
Being in.
I worked at Bowen Peters.
Yes,
too,
yes,
for a little while.
She did.
Yes, in the office.
In the office.
Especially Urban Bushwoman, because they called me in to help them do some things of some performances that happened at Bowen Peters.
Let's talk about your foundation. Let's talk about your beginning, Elaine, because you got.
Remember that?
I
Remember that?
believe
They
I
called me- they
do.
called me
I
in,
believe
and
I do because it
Sherry,
was.
and Sherry Caldwell.
Yeah, you guys
And
were
Sherry-
adults
Yeah.
at then.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But let's talk about your journey, your beginnings, your legacy, your father, the master drummer. Come on now.
Well.
How did it start for you?
Well, it started way back when. Actually, when I was a young person in Boston, because my father, Kenneth Ivan Peters, and my stepmother, Angela Bowen, were performers. And, I was in it before I knew I was in it. Because I was born into it, and then they had George Howard, so many people I can't remember everything. But what I'm trying to say is the rehearsals and, people performing and artists and, people coming in from out of town that are just starting out, and they need some place to stay. And, so it was just all in the family. And so then I came to New Haven and they started the dance school, Bowen Peters School of Dance, on Dixwell Avenue, next to, was on Lake Place. And, it was just small students and here and there. But if you've ever seen a show or bought a ticket or came to Bowen Peters, you're a part of the rich cultural history as well.
Exactly. When did they move to Orchard Street?
They moved to Orchard Street in, I think it was late 60s or early, late 60s. And, then, it was, they had permission just to drum, because it was loud, it was loud for people, but people would always be peeking in and it got so heavily full that they had to move to Dixwell Avenue, the firehouse.
Okay.
Because there was so many people. But before then, they moved up on Dixwell Avenue, up near Hampton. It was a smaller place. And then they moved to the big firehouse. But that time, there was the recession. And so, but they always had a sliding scale. If you couldn't afford it or something, you would do chores.
That's right.
You would do
Everybody
chores.
cleaned up.
Everybody did something.
Swept.
Paul Hall.
We
He
all.
was the sweeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was one of my students
Wipe
too.
down the bars.
Yeah.
And the mirrors.
You had to do that.
And even clean the bathroom in the
Yeah.
the dressing room too,
Oh yes.
because it was I could still smell that sweat. We was
Oh, yes.
sweating after them classes.
And it was so much discipline, nothing but death could keep you back from coming to rehearsal.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a story about, because we would rehearse
Yeah.
when we was on Orchard Street. We would do the rehearsals at that church at the junction of
Sure,
Dixon.
Summerfield Methodist.
Summerfield Methodist.
Summerfield Methodist.
That's
yeah.
right. And I was maybe a sophomore in high school, and I was going to go to the prom. I got invited to a prom,
Yeah.
Okay.
and the prom was the night of one of the dress rehearsals.
Okay, forget it.
Miss Peters didn't care about no dress rehearsal. I mean, no, prom.
Prom.
What you talk about?
Right?
Ain't nobody gonna. So I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I got my stuff for the prom anyway. I'm gonna go to the prom, not tell nobody.
Yeah.
Well, a person unnamed said, went and told Miss Peters that I went to the prom. I wasn't sick because I called out sick or something.
Mm-hmm.
And even maybe took a picture and showed her the picture. Yeah.
Oh.
And so when I got the next rehearsal I went to, she said, you are not in the African dance.
Okay.
You can do all the other dances, but you are not in the African dance. I was so pissed. But that was a consequence,
Yeah.
right?
And
So
that's
she
the
was like,
difference. A lot of times, that's the difference between doing a community production where people don't sign contracts and they, have more life than performance. And that is like the thing that we learned from Chucky, how to be professional.
Yes.
so Elaine, you had to. This is a thing too, because you have so much history too. Because
Yeah.
your father and Mrs. Peters did not just do the things. They gave you the history. Like your father gave history behind the techniques of the drumming,
Yes.
and this drum and the this and the that. And we were with I taped the drummers the other day at Bergamo's. Slack, Michelle Smith, Mike Mills, Raphael, and they talked about
And Paul, yeah.
Well, Paul wasn't there, but Michael was there. But Paul too. But they just talked about like their evolution of it, and your father and mother always talked. I just specifically
there was a thing. It was very disciplined,
Mm-hmm.
and where they came from and where they learned from. Alma Lewis and other things, but it was the discipline.
Yeah.
And you had to be able to feel that was what you wanted, because if you didn't,
baby,
you were gone. And in those days, your parents come in there and say, "Listen, I'm having a little trouble with my girl or my son or something. They might be out of. Can you keep them in place?" And that was Angela's thing. I mean,
no, I know.
listen.
I've seen her check a few folks.
If you pouted it, you didn't want to do something, you were acting all sullen and something, or you try to talk back to her, she would take the needle off the record. Come here. She'd go in the back. You might hear boom, 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 boom. Oh.
You didn't have time to get all in your feelings
Right.
Then you come back
and set boundaries and do all that. It wasn't that.
She come back. Everybody be on the bar, first position. She put the needle on the record and 1, 2. And you come back and you be like.
So how was it? How was it for you? But how have you? Because you live in.
For me, I was in it. So it was a family business, and all the envelopes that you had to lick and seal and send out things. They didn't have computers then. All the phone calls you had to make. You had to make the phone calls and the costumes and I made like things for the costumes and things like that, because I was very artistic, still am. And, it was just very disciplined. But, now, like you say, in the community, people sign contracts and they just come in just because they want. And so it's a different feeling, and you can't, really discipline somebody, you need to do this or you need to do that. You can't really do that because the parent will come in and start something with you or, Yeah.
And you work to keep the legacy going. So what things have you, let's talk about your projects. Because you always got you have done a lot of projects. Let's talk about some of your projects.
That's right.
Such as Kwanzaa. Come on now.
Well, before then, I did do some things in New York, and I went to Alvin Ailey, and I worked with Madame Lavinia Williams, and Pepsi Riley, and, and she taught me a lot of the Caribbean style. But that's what my father, because, we're from Barbados. And so that was...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, from Barbados. And so, it's the Calypso and it's the Caribbean. And it's that style. And so George Howard, he when I was a little girl, he had this thing called Lena. Okay. And it was a true story because he had history doing ritual and things like that. And so I think he was from Nevis. And he witnessed a ritual going on. And then also his sister on her deathbed was in the throes of telling this story. So it was Lena. And he had productions of it when he was in Boston. But it was small productions. And I guess his vision, his dream was always to produce it. And so then he made a residency with Angela and used the students here and some students from Alvin Ailey. And we did Lena, so it was a 90-minute feature film presentation. And so that was a great production because we went to the studio. I mean, it was like about the hardest thing that I've done as far as dance in my life, because since I was the sole performer, I had to be constantly on set. And so when it was so how it came to be the production, the way George wanted it, made a connection with Boston, the dancers there, New York, and here. And, it was costumes, it was, the sets were painted, I mean, everything, so that was about the hardest thing that I did in my life as far as performance, because I had to be constantly on set and constantly, because there were different exits and entrances, and interplay between the different groups of the people, the dancers, like, what the mood was, because, I don't know if you know the story, story about, an innocent young lady, and she got caught up, and she wanted to just be accepted. And so then people came in her face and, was like, well, come on step into my palace and spotted to the fly. So, and then once you got in there, like the Roach Motel, you can't get out. So, no, but, it was interplay. And so the people changed up. And so anyway, so that was a feature film production. And it was in the TV Guide with my picture in the TV Guide. Okay. That we used to buy. We used to buy a TV Guide.
I know, right?
We used to buy the TV Guide.
Subscribe. They came in the mail.
So and it was nominated for a feature film, special feature film presentations. Got nominated for that and came in second to a project that Maya Angelou was working on. So we went to the ball and all that kind of thing and all that stuff. And so that was very interesting. But then after that, I was in Ailey's for a while, and I was in the second company. And I never got to perform with them, but, I was there. And after that, doing classes back and forth from New York to here, and doing classes in a little Dodge Dart with the foot on the floor, doing 100 miles an hour, trying to get back and forth. So, and then the school, was, going through changes, and the health of my father was going, deteriorating and everything. But he taught a lot of people, and he made these things called kenga drums, where he took the pickle barrel and put the skin on it, and he would taught people, taught the students, how to make a drum, a real drum. And so,
So you learned that skill as well.
Well, yeah. Well, I can make anything if you give me a piece of string and a button. You know what I'm saying? I make something out of it. That's just the way I always was.
And your cultural programming journey, because you've created a lot of programs. What are some of the things? Talk about some of your programs.
Programs that I created.
Yeah, okay, Kwanzaa.
Well,
and other.
I didn't create Kwanzaa.
You didn't create Kwanzaa. No, celebrations.
Celebrations.
You coordinated celebrations here in New Haven, integrated New Haven community.
How that started. Well, besides that, when I think you were there at the festival when Rasmo was there.
Yes.
Okay, and so there was what was it? They finally called it All City Carnival.
Mm.
And so
that's right.
So we had then they commissioned residents, artists and residents to work in different areas of New Haven.
Yeah.
And so I was in Fairhaven. What's the name of that place? Fairhaven at the on Fillmore Street.
Oh, so it was the community center. I forgot the name of it, but I know you're talking about. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Farnham.
Right, Farnham. And so I had a group of students, but they didn't know their right foot from their left foot, their left foot from their right foot. They didn't know their finger from their, lips. They really didn't know anything. And so, but I had this vision, and I had the vision of doing a parade or a carnival. Yeah. And I kept trying to do the carnival, but it wasn't accepted at the time. So, but with the help of Alita and Rasmo, we got that together and got it, all the different programs. But I said I wanted to be last because I had friends that were performing and everything. So I said, we got to have a big stream of people to do the carnival.
That's right.
So we made costumes out of, I said, it was, like T-shirts and, not rags, but pieces of string so that, they could just fly and stuff. So I had, the dancers that were with me and the kids that were with me. And they had the belly dancers. I had belly dancers doing with the waving and stuff. And so it ended up being about 40 people behind the band on top of the, and the band was playing on the back of the truck, when we got downtown. And when we got downtown, who was going to be there? Do you remember? Marshall.
One of those Caribbean groups, big Caribbean groups on the green, because everybody marched down
together. So that was one of the things that I did. But other than that, I just taught in community centers and.
Just taught in community centers, okay? Well, come on, let's talk about the library program.
I did the Q House when it was like, back in the day, we had some students coming in. I did the Q House thing, but that was...
What thing did you do at the Q House?
I taught the dancing.
I know. Okay. There you go.
I taught the students dancing.
Got whole communities to dance on a green.
Oh, you talking about following them?
Following them.
Oh, that's the thing. Got to link up. Yeah, so but how Kwanzaa started, and I'm with myself. I used to go to Kwanzaas and be involved in Kwanzaa. I went to a couple of your Kwanzaas at Long Wharf, and a few other people in the community. And then I found myself, when they were doing something, I say, but you know what? What about the? And what about the? And then I would pull them on the side and say, you need to do so and so. So.
And then you said, let me just do it myself.
So Swana, Sisters with a New Attitude. Remember Swana?
Oh yeah.
And Deborah Elmore. And so, we would have meetings and everything, and we would be at the Wilson Library. And so, I was trying to do a choir. I said, well, how about we do something to get the people together? Because I'm always thinking about how to get the people together, how to link them up. And, I see I say, I'll call this one and call that one. Well, I know so-and-so. So they did, but they didn't want it to be Africans. They wanted to, they didn't want it to be Afrocentric.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of separated ways, on a good level. And so then for the next few years, I started to do it myself and have the pull from the community.
And have African-centered.
Afro, yes. And have people from the community to come and bring the message that had talents as well that weren't being utilized because there was no place for them to go.
Okay.
There was no out center for them to go.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had performances come,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so full and rich because this is when I got up today and it was like, this is the 5th day of Kwanzaa. This is Nia. And it's just perfect that having conversations with y'all because our purpose has been like what was that? 95, Alita and I came up with the Ife Tayo Festival with B. Taylor. Mm-hmm. And it was a celebration of African arts. And we did it in the Bowen Field, random, in the parking lot. Not random, but it what's his name? Ford. He had just done a mural.
Yes.
What was his first name? It was a visual artist, and he did a mural of a history of slavery to current day and the whole thing. We had that mural lined up. We had featured artists, lots of local artists in the community, and it was a free celebration down in Bowen Field. And I believe even because it was in August, the incoming freshman class at Yale at that year came through. The Cultural Center brought some things here. So our journeys just have been so rich, and we've maintained our purpose through that. Through the community work, I worked in community. It had community relations for everybody. I'm like, oh boy, what you want to do now? Yeah. But when I worked at Longworth,
talk to Black people.
That's what. Right, and then we have to convince the Black people that it's okay to go to the white space.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Exactly. It's okay. They want you there, and we'll protect you. Because that's the other thing.
Right.
That's the other thing. Because we got to talk about the damage that sometimes is done when the white folks are not that receptive.
Right.
Yes.
Or they're like, whoa, wait, you brought too many people. Wait. Because when I was at Long Wharf, I mean, Michael, oh God, what was the directors at the time?
Oh.
Doug and Michael Ross and Doug Hughes. They were like, okay, I was like, okay, I'm the house manager. But when the stage is down, stage 2 is down, I want to do this Kwanzaa celebration, bring in the kids from the city of New Haven to perform, yada, yada. It was like, okay, go ahead. You got the keys, the lights on, anybody there? And it was during the Christmas break.
Right. So
and I got and the lighting guy was like, yeah, fine, no problem. He was willing to help. And a few of the people on the wait staff. Mm-hmm. And so when it happened, they were like, oh, shoot. Right? Oh, well, you got to do this again. So the next year I got money and was able to pay people to come and do some things. And it got too big for that stage. And then we had to end up doing it on the 3rd and 4th year. We did it on the main stage. Mm-hmm. And it was fabulous.
Right.
And just things like that. Like, I'm always thinking of things for me to do.
Right. Yes. Well, I say, you can't dance forever. And so people that see me, they see me out in public, right? Mm-hmm. Or like, for instance, like, now my feet are bad and knees are bad. I've had accidents and things. And so, I'm coming along with my little cane and stuff, try not to do my little pimp walk, They say, oh, oh, you still dancing? I said, yes, I'm still dancing.
Mhm.
In my mind, I see this and I vision that. And I remember Lita, it was one program, we were at the Schubert, I can't remember what it was. And, you know, it was something about visions or something. And you said, you know, you're always good at that because I do. I see things with a vision. And so now, okay, now these are cowrie shells. And I have this one is grandfather and grandmother cowrie shells. And they always have witness to what you do in the community. That's the support of the community. So you can't dance forever. So now I've always had this ability and capability, but I've honed it to now Melodoma Somé, who's just recently passed away in December the 9th. He's gone on, he's transitioned, and he was and is still a giant in his field. He was a philosopher, a doctorate, a triple doctorate, an author, and a shaman, a healer, and, you know, a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And so he took, and his name means, Malidoma Somé means make friends with the stranger.
Mm-hmm.
And he's from Dagara, the Dagara people of
Mhm.
Burkina Faso.
Okay.
And so his vision was to come here to the West to show us how to relate to our African roots and how to feel our natural spirits and the gifts that we have and the blessings
Mm-hmm.
that we have so much of, but we shun them away because of things that are going on in our society and things that are put upon us by the colonialism
Mm-hmm.
and years of no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was fortunate enough to buy from Sosavu.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Sosavu Caldwell?
Yes.
We
Mhm.
went there to the village, and it's upstate New York on a parcel of land, and it was rural, and there was nothing there. You know, you had to make everything, build everything from scratch. But there, I learned how to hone my gifts that I had naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So I have graduated, and I'm really a high priestess, a shamaness,
Mm-hmm.
and the works of natural healing.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my certification. And so I had a chance to drum with him during rituals. Now, people hear ritual, they get nervous. Well, a ritual is you get up every morning, set your clock, that's a ritual. You get up, wash your face, that's a ritual.
Right.
You brush your teeth, that's a ritual. You have to get the kids and you got to make plans, that's a ritual. So rituals aren't,
Mm-hmm.
So, I've drummed with him and, I had visions and he came to me. Well, there's a segment when you have to, there's a part when you drink your name because everyone has a purpose and everybody in the village has a part to play.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody in the village puts part, you put a part, we put a part, and that's how you build a village strong.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody is welcomed in the village and everybody is needed. So when you drink your name. And so he said to me, your name is Bomala. 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 And I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? He says, creator and maker of all things of importance.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, that's your purpose. Be creator and maker of all things of importance. And so when he said that to me, and and he says, your visions, you follow those visions. When your ancestors come and they talk, because they come and talk to you, you listen.
Mm-hmm.
You pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
You find a way, because water seeks its own level. So you find a way to seek that level, to create and give.
Mm-hmm.
So, my commitment is to give what I have learned to others, and hopefully that one person in the audience or wherever it is, they'll get a spark and they'll feel that energy and they'll, well, listen, I can do that too. Or maybe, you find somebody, because everybody has a purpose. Everybody has something to give.
There it is. And
Okay,
with
everybody
that,
has something to
is
give.
Nia.
that is Nia.
Everybody
That is
has to
Nia.
give.
And I am grateful for both of you all in my life and in the lives of this greater New Haven community, in the spirit of Nia, and in the celebration, the lit celebration of Kwanzaa.
Hello.
We are thankful.
All right.
That's it. We over.
Ashe.
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 I am because we are.
I am because we are.
I am because we are.
Ashe.
Ashe.
I guess the music and the drum picked me, you know?
Because it gives me a groovy and it's connected with me. You know, this is good. I liked the drums and the classical music, even if it wasn't quite right. They stuck them in. I thought this was cool, and so I wanted to learn how to do the hand drumming. Because you're beating on something that used to have life.
I didn't know that I was doing this as a career or anything like that. We need to get this to the kids, to the children, you know?
I think that once we expose our young people to it, they're blessed with it, and that's it. For the rest of their lives, wherever they